every single one of you go out there, like this video, follow me on Instagram, follow me on what else, on Twitter, and that's it. That's everything that I want to say, because I don't want to talk about me today. I want to talk about what Barcelona achieved, and most particularly Ansu freaking Fati, because this game, I hadn't been pumped for a game like this one in quite a while. I really like games with high stakes, guys. I really do. I like games that could potentially see massive consequences for us. I really like that, because it gets me excited, it gets me riled up, and most importantly, it gives me quite a bit of content to give you guys, to talk about, to elaborate on, and that's particularly what I enjoy. That's precisely the reason why I do these things. I talk about Barcelona, I talk about football, because Barcelona today managed to do a very good game. Of course, we have to put aside, I think we have to put aside the context where we are now, what we are trying to do, with all of these surrounding elements that completely affect the way that we're playing right now. Barcelona managed to come out here to the Dynamo Olympic Stadium and get the 3 massive points, and more particularly start the game with a fresh face, and lead a road, a path, a direction, basically show us in the right direction, so that when Xavi can take over, we can reach a proper new stage of football. We can return to where we once were, and I really do think that this is the start of something big. And you know how, where you have a, I don't know if okay, I don't know how to explain this, but we have sine curves, curves that goes like this, up, and then down, and then up, and then down. So Barcelona before were here in the down spot, but now we're slowly creeping down, turning the corner, and that's where we're gonna be in a few more seasons. Because I see that happening. I see how we're going. I see in the direction that we're being pointed towards, and I like it. I really do. I think most particularly the return of how players, how you say, like Araujo, like Ousmane Dembele, like Ansu Fati, like Frankie De Jong, and the appearance, the emergence of guys like Nico Gonzalez, like Gavi, all of these, Alex Valde, all of these players coming into the side. I think this is particularly just what we needed, and is what I was just asking for the longest of times. We needed this rebuild for a very long time, and I think that this victory is very important for a lot of reasons, guys. A lot of reasons, and I'm gonna say it in a few minutes, but I want more people to start tuning in. I want you all of guys to share this with your friends, share it around the world, wherever you are, get people involved, because I need to explain to you guys why I think this game was more important than than you think. So give me just 1 second to continue sharing this stream. Give me just 1 minute. And the reason why I say this, then, the reason why I say this game was more important than it actually seems, it's because Barcelona managed, in my opinion, to win this game without those big names, appearance, without, Memphis Depay trying to rescue you, even though he's not a big name. You know what I mean? He's not of the levels of a Lewandowski, Messi, people you're going to expect every single week in, week out to try and win. We didn't have a Gerard Piqué at the back. We didn't have our main captain on the field. It may be Busquets for some of you, but let's be honest. Piqué does the shouting. Piqué does the commanding. Piqué does the basically organizing of the players. And that's particularly where I think that we kind of lacked. And now, in this game, we managed to come out with a win. Cuando las papas están quemando. That's how we say it in Spanish. That when you are hitting the fan, when shit hits the fan, and you want to show and demonstrate when you're going against the ropes, like in boxing, and you want to get yourself up, we managed to do that. Barcelona managed to come out with a victory without those names, without those leaders, and I think that's particularly what will lead us into a very fruitful, I don't know how to explain this, a fruitful just next few seasons for Barcelona. I really do. I really do. Before I get into your comments, guys, I know there's so much right now. I want to tell Sergi Barjuan, I want to give a little bit of credit to him because just like Tommy Gunn says here, tactically the coach did well in this game. I want to say the very exact same thing. I think that Sergi Barjuan deserves a little bit of recognition for his hard work. I think that Barcelona played particularly better in the game against Deportivo Alaves, even though I didn't manage to do a video for that particular match day. I was watching the game, and the same here. I was watching the game against Dynamo Kyiv now about how Sergi Barjuan was trying to make this team a little more, have a little more width, and be able to defend more with the ball through the possession because their passes were certainly a bit faster. We were pressuring also higher up. It gave us then a little bit of, I don't know how to say it. It made Barcelona a little bit tired for the second part of the first half, and that is a place where we need to continuously improve because of course I believe that Barcelona need to be able to maintain this sort of press for longer, and I think that's where Xavi, a new manager, is going to be coming in and making these players work harder. But when we really do think about how far we want to go, how much we want to take this further, that's the one place where I think we need to improve. So for now, Sergi Barjuan is making a very good job of what he has, of the tools that he has at his disposal. And I think the most important thing is that we just need to go out there and play. Brent Garcia says, I like the Barjuan bench Piqué, but really Barjuan didn't play Piqué because Piqué was injured or he had like a knock, so that's why Lenglet start. I also want to mention, let's give a little bit of credit to Clement Lenglet because Lenglet was pretty decent today. Lenglet is not a bad player. Clement Lenglet is not a bad player. Lenglet can really be a useful asset to Barcelona. The very same thing with Samuel Umtiti. But the thing is that these two sort of players in the sort of environment that Barcelona find themselves into are very easy for them to get a lot of scrutiny and criticism. And when you don't have a rightful context, that's particularly the very same thing that could happen to someone like Eric Garcia. These players are going to be able to falter because these are the sort of center backs, the sort of players that will most of the time tend to commit mistakes because they're out of position or they're not going for a harsh tackle because that's not the thing that they need to do. In a formation, in a system where all the players, all the pieces are kind of like one step in behind, it's going to be, of course, it's going to be very difficult to be able to keep your position all the time because you're almost working double. We're working double the work because we're so disorganized in defense, and still I go back to one of the chances, a double chance that Dynamo Kyiv has in the second half, had in the first half or second half, I'm not too sure. But it was just a simple 1-2 through the left-hand side of the Barcelona defense. So against, in the right-hand side of the Barcelona defense against Mingueza. And then two shots, very quick shots. It was very easy for Dynamo Kyiv to dismantle Barcelona. And you can still see that organically we almost always tend to be out of position when tracking back. And that is a place where I think the new manager coming in should certainly be better. And I think that despite that, someone like Oscar Mingueza did very good here, like Christian Gomez is saying. And yeah, hi MW Troll. I remember you, MW Troll. From a long way back. So yes, indeed, I think that these sort of defenders, these sort of center backs are going to be getting better when our whole system, when our whole team is able to work more collectively. And that's where we have to push further forward, right? I think that Eric Garcia today, he kind of suffered a little bit from that because he's tired, okay guys, he's tired. It's like 10, it's already 10 p.m. here in the UK. And well, what I was saying is that Eric Garcia suffered a bit of the same, I think, today in this game. And I think I fell short. Not fell short, I probably fell too deep with criticism against Garcia, if I do say so myself. I did say in Twitter that he was kind of like a fraud in this game and he was not really the player that we were supposed to sign. And the reality is that from the levels that I saw Manchester City, I don't think he's producing these sorts of same levels of Barcelona. But then again, at Manchester City, we had a team that was systematically oiled to every single down piece of equipment. And here, Barcelona, they're basically just a car waiting to be dismantled at the junkyard. Because literally Barcelona, you cannot compare them to Manchester City. They're miles away. And I think that is something that is suffering, that is making Eric Garcia suffer. And that's, of course, something that I wanted to highlight because I was wrong with my criticism of Eric Garcia there. and yeah, it was not ideal. It was not ideal, but it's where we are right now. Other players that you might want to comment on, guys, let me know in the chat right now, because certainly there's a lot of things that we need to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about the high pressure that Barcelona managed to include in the first half. I think that was very, very good. Sergio Barjuan is really making this team work a little bit harder, and you can just see how much of Koeman's message was lost in the last few instances that he was at Barcelona. Because with this new manager, of course, is coming in, you're gonna have the new manager kind of honeymoon, and of course the manager impact, the new manager kind of thing is gonna be making you work harder, because you gotta earn your spot and whatnot. But realistically, I think that Sergio Barjuan is already tactically changing this team to a certain degree. I think the very first game against Deportivo Alaves, he was a little bit shy. He played as a right winger. He tried different things, but I think that in this game he felt more at home. I feel he felt more at home because he didn't have to make way for certain players. Ansu Fati coming in, of course, was going to be great. And having these two wingers in Ansu Fati and Dembele, my goodness, Barcelona can really stretch out the play. I think that Dembele, today in this game, he was really good. And when he gets on point, like when he gets into his run of form, into his stride, he's going to be a massive player for Barcelona. He really is going to be a massive player. Really good player. Emma Drog says, what do you think about Frankie de Jong? I don't think that Frankie de Jong today didn't have the best of games, and he's suffering a bit, really, in all honesty. He's not playing good football right now. I think he's lacking from a little bit of confidence. And I think that is a part where hopefully Xavi, the new manager that comes in, whoever it is, can improve on it a little bit. I think that Frankie de Jong needs to get that Sergio Busquets role. I still do think that. If we do not get that, then play ideally where he played today, which was kind of the left-sided center of midfield. I think ideally, when we think about where we want to see Frankie de Jong in a few years, I want to see a complete player right now. Because Frankie de Jong, if you think of where he was, for instance, to Xavi, at their stage in their career, de Jong had already done more. People think that Xavi and Iniesta just played amazing football since they were 17 years old, and that's not really the case. They came later into their career, to their prime, and that's where I think that Frankie de Jong really can excel if treated correctly, and someone like Xavi can really get the best out of him. Like I said, I just feel I think it's a lack of confidence. I think that Frankie de Jong needs to find himself, has some few matches, but the thing is that now with the consistency back on track, I think he's gonna be there. I think he's gonna be working hard. He's always a professional player, it seems, and he just needs to find someone that believes in him. I think that Xavi will put that arm around him and tell him, Frankie, you are on your day the best player that Barcelona has. If I'm talking about talent, people are gonna be saying, yeah, Ansu Fati, Frank de Jong, but the guy who can orchestrate our team, and the guy who's I hate this, John. Okay, the guy who's actually gonna orchestrate, the guy who's actually gonna make this team function in the future, if we have the possibility, it's gonna be Frankie de Jong. It's gonna be Frankie de Jong because he has all the tools to do so, and he's gonna be the engine there. He's gonna be the main core. He's gonna be the nucleus. He's gonna be the heart that keeps it pumping, and that's where we're gonna be getting our creativity from. I really do think that. So Virginia says the following: I'm sorry, BugaLuis, if you don't like my answer, but Forza Barça, if you're supposed to study for something important, I believe you should choose that we will manage here, bro. I understand that. Leo Yon, what about the performance of the and Coutinho? Why not Coutinho today? I'll talk about that, but Ansu Fati injury? What injury? Okay, I want to see that about Ansu Fati's injury. I don't think he has an injury. He looked fatigued, though, at the end of the game. And I'll get back to your question, Leo Yon. I'll take what your question. Let's take a look at if we have any news on Coutinho. It seems like nothing is there. Nothing there from Coutinho, right? From Ansu Fati talking about an injury. Nope, not really. Not really. Nothing. So I guess we can just go back again and talk about what we came here for, and that's well, Coutinho and Depay. So you talk about Memphis Depay. I think today Memphis Depay really wasn't up to his best as well. I think that Depay really do needs another winger next to him. I think that he finds his best game when he's also playing for the left wing position. I think that as you saw, for instance, in the last few minutes, where not the last few minutes, last 70 minutes, where we saw Dembele back in the side, it was it was actually Memphis Depay through the left, then Ansu Fati through the middle, and Dembele through the right. Most people would have anticipated to be Memphis through the middle, Ansu Fati through the left, and then Dembele through the right. And I think that once we start seeing more of Memphis through the left and Ansu Fati through the middle, like we saw today in the last few minutes, I think we're gonna get a proper good front three that will be back to its very best with players like this. And I'm just really excited to see where we're gonna be, how we're gonna be improving. I really do think that. David Fotela, no, Davy Fotolela says, I think Mingueza works best as a right back on paper, but a third center back defense on the pitch. He just needs to be a little bit more level-headed under pressure because his recovery pace on one-on-one defending is good. Yeah, I agree. I think Mingueza is kind of like, I think one of you mentioned it before, that actually Mingueza is sort of like poor man Araujo, and I kind of tend to agree on the same thing. I really do think that Mingueza is a very good player, and once benefited with better players around him, and particularly in back three where he has that ability to stretch out wide that he really likes, we can see the best of him. I would still go ahead and play Serginho Dest because I think that in a good Barcelona, like I said, with all of the pieces taken correctly, we are going to have a proper player there, and it's something that we shouldn't back away from because in all due respect to Mingueza, I think that Dest has a higher ceiling. And if we can get him out and play good football, then why not? Just go all out and try and get the best out of him because he can really be an instrumental player for whatever we want to build in the future. I guess that alternatively, when we're thinking about how can Mingueza be better or find a place in the team, I think that most particularly we are tending to look at a player that is very similar to Nacho Real Madrid, a player that can be just an instrumental squad player and fill many gaps in our team with the defense when we need it to. So maybe when we have a left back problem, we have a center back problem, a right back problem, he will fit in there. He's like kind of like the new Sergio Roberto in a way. And that's kind of why I think always Sergio Roberto is good to have. If Sergio Roberto can renew him. He doesn't have to be a starter, but he can do a job as a right back, as a center back, as a left back, as a CDM, as a center midfield, as a right mid, right winger. Sergio Roberto can do a job. And that's the thing. He doesn't have to be instrumental. He doesn't have to be the next best midfielder like post goals. He doesn't need to be that. He can just be a squad player. And if he's fine with doing that, then just give him that freaking renewed contract and sign it. But for now, I'm not even gonna get into it. I think that Mingueza is good. And Leo John, I forgot about what we were talking about before of what's it called? Coutinho. And I think that Coutinho is a weird one. The thing is that technically if you're a real Barcelona I don't know how you say it, guru, if you are someone who has come through the ranks, if you're someone who has come through the ranks, if you're someone who has actually lived and breathed Barcelona, Coutinho is not really the style of player that you want because Coutinho, he's good on the one-on-one, he's tricky like a Messi, for instance, can be, but he tends to hold on the ball too much, and the same thing happens with Depay. They kind of prefer to just do the hold the ball a little bit more, dribble past one player, which can be good for press resistance, for instance, but in all due respect, with when we take a look at what Barcelona want to do, all due respect to Coutinho, I think he's not adept with the quick passes, or he could be the same with Depay. I think they could be players that mentally they can improve to match the sort of one pass football that Barcelona wants to have, and I think that's in the eyes of Sergio Barjuan, he just feels more comfortable right now playing with Nico Gonzalez and Gavi because he knows he can get that sort of football out of them rather than someone like Coutinho. And Coutinho still suffers from the idea that we do not know where in the field does he fit in. Are you gonna substitute him in as a left winger for someone like Ansu Fati? Are you gonna play him right from the get-go as a center midfielder? I don't know. There's many different things that you can talk about with Coutinho, and in all due respect, I don't really know if they're worth asking. I think Coutinho is an incredible player. I want him to return to his best because we really do need a player like that. But even, I don't know. I think that right now, Gavi has kind of he's playing good. He's playing good football, but he's not just breaking the world. So try Coutinho a few games here and there to see how it works, and maybe we can find something that can give us benefits. I think that Coutinho also suffers from having that natural right foot and perhaps not being capable to play for the right as good as someone like Gavi. What's next? Subikar Purla says, Buga, don't you think Braithwaite would do good if Ansu and Dembele on the wings? He's hard working and selfless. He could keep up with pace, and he's more of a number 9 than Memphis Depay. Yeah, perfectly. I think Martin Braithwaite is a good player, and like I've always said, if I have the possibility, I will keep Martin Braithwaite because he can play any of the front 3 positions, left wing, striker, right wing, and he's gonna work hard. He's gonna work pretty hard, and I like that. I really dig that. And I think that that's where we can potentially find ourselves with a player, with a really good player and asset. Like the same like Minguez, I say, a player that can do the job. And if we can have that, if we can get that in someone like Braithwaite, I'm all in. I'm all in to keep Martin Braithwaite in the side and give him a renewed contract and have him just play some few games because he's a really good player. At the core, he's a good player. So I wouldn't be against that. I really wouldn't be against it. I think Xavi should make Coutinho a false 9 like Pep did with Haţegan. That could work. I honestly think that's not bad. I honestly think that's not bad of an idea because Coutinho does have the finishing in him. He can score plenty of goals like he did with Liverpool. But then again, how Javali Grant saying here, for instance, Depay can also do that job, right? So I'm not too sure. We also know that there are some of the players that someone like Xavi wants to bring in is Dani Olmo, for instance. Dani Olmo can play that false 9. Dani Olmo can play through the wings. We know that he wants Haaland. We know that he wants Pogba, apparently, and Koundé. I mean, I have my own list of players that I would like to bring in. I think Haaland, Pogba, if you can bring him on a free, imagine that. That's going to be sick. But technically, Barcelona can pull out 2 deals that are really good ones. First one being Pogba. If they can bring Pogba, somehow sell him the idea not to return to United, and bring Pogba to the Camp Nou on a free signing. That would be interesting. And then the other one, I guess, would be of Kessié. In my opinion, Kessié is such a good player, such a good baller, and he's also running out his contract. Imagine getting those 2 players on a free. Woof, your midfield will go from good to proper amazing. Like the young Pogba, Kessié, Pedri, that sounds nice. That sounds tasty. And then you have Memphis, Ansu, Haaland up top. That's also pretty good. Just have plenty of options to play around with, and I think that's good. I think that the kind of the idea of playing for Xavi is also something that's gonna make plenty of players interested. Plenty. Now that you say that, I want to research more about Olmo and see kind of where he is with his play, because I know that he's a sick player, but I'm not too sure where he could fit in Barca right now. So I want to see how we can really get the best out of him, because Dani Olmo Carvajal surely will be a good player in the future. Find an opinion on Xavi. I think that Xavi is what we want. Hey Buga, do you think Depay is better on the left or on the center? I think he's better on the left. Final opinion, and I already read that. Thoughts on Nico Gonzalez? I think Nico Gonzalez right now, and that's the good thing about having young players in your team. I think Gavi had a better start to the season, but now I think Nico Gonzalez is playing better, and that is something that you have to understand. And I kind of think that people kind of like and prefer to see or think that Nico Gonzalez is better as a CDM, but I think that playing just as an interior, like next to another DM, I think that's where Nico Gonzalez really shines, and that's where I think that we will see the best football of Nico Gonzalez. So, if you ask me, I would put Nico Gonzalez as a CM, not a CDM. I think that right now he plays good football where he's at, and we should just expect him to keep improving like that because he's a really good player, and we will get better performances from him just because he's simply this good. So that's where I would put Nico Gonzalez. I just really wouldn't be thinking about him in any other positions because he's that good. He's that good as an interior, honestly. I think CDM, people think CDM because he's tall, lanky like Sergio Busquets, but that tall lankiness that he has allows him to be a little bit more of a bomber through the middle, and I like that. I don't know. This is gonna sound such a weird comparison, but Nico Gonzalez reminds me of a young Yaya Toure. it makes no sense. It makes no sense because Yaya Toure was more of a goal scorer, but that was something that he acquired later in his career. But that strides, those ball controls, really remind me of Yaya Toure, but one Yaya Toure with more agility. A Yaya Toure who is able to curve more around the opposition. I don't know. Maybe there's a better comparison. There's certainly a better comparison, but he just reminds me of the long strides. Really, the long strides really do remind me of a Yaya Toure. I don't know why, but it does. It really does. So indeed, Sign McFred, no, dude. I prefer to get myself a tattoo of a Real Madrid badge than signing McFred. Nico or Gavi, who's better in your opinion? I think I like Nico. I really like Nico. I like Nico. Right now, I like Nico more. I don't know why, but I just like Nico more. What else? How high will we finish in in La Liga? I think that in La Liga, like, I have to think that we need to get Champions League because Barcelona without anything else than Champions League, it's poor. It's really poor, and I don't want that. I don't want to even close of that. Don Ivan de Vic to Barca, Sterling, Denis Zakaria. Look, if we get Denis Zakaria, why pay for him when you can get KCA for free, who is a much better player? Then Sterling is good, but we already got plenty of left wingers, and I think that Memphis Depay, Ansu Fati, if none of them are leaving, don't get Sterling because Sterling is not good on the right wing. He's not good on the right wing, and he's not good as a center forward. He can be that, but even now he struggles at City. Like, literally, Pep wants to play Jack Grealish as a left winger, and he's sending incognito messages to Sterling telling him, like, hey, if you want to play and you want to stay at City, you got to play center forward. And Sterling, of course, is not as good as a center forward, so that's why they're playing Ferran Torres and Gabriel Jesus in front of him right now, and he's really falling by the wayside. You see in England that Sterling only performs good for the left wing, so I'm not betting on Sterling. I don't want Sterling, honestly. I prefer. People are saying Dembele or Sterling, and Dembele by a landslide. Dembele by a landslide, because I think that if he's fit, he's fine on full cylinders. I think Dembele honestly can reach up levels of, like, people are gonna kill me, but, like, you know how these players are mentioned, like Joao Felix, Haaland, Mbappe, all of these kids. I think Dembele's up there. I really think that if he had a career free of injuries, he would be up there. He really would be up there. Ever since Messi left, or the last, with the 2 full seasons that he had, the one with Koeman and the second one with Valverde. Was it Valverde? Yeah, the second one with Valverde, or the third one. I'm not sure when it was. Dembele was our most crucial player. He won us the most points. He won us the most games. Dembele is up there when you talk about game changers. He really is up there. So do not underestimate Dembele. Do not underestimate Dembele. Dest is injured according to some reports. I didn't read that. So I cannot confirm a single thing. I really can't. Sorry about that. And with it, guys, what else do you want to talk about? In the second half, I guess that's where we saw the goal from Ansu Fati. And the thing that now really strikes me, a lot of you are going to be mentioning this, I don't know 100%, is that, like, Barcelona are doing good, but the problem is that Barcelona are not doing good in finishing. That is why the injury or the status, I don't know how you want to call it, of Agüero really worries me. It really worries me because I think that he's a player that honestly he's a player that should be helping us a lot, quite a lot. So I don't know. I really am worried about Agüero because he's a player that I expected him to play more football than he has until this stage. Injuries and of course this thing with his heart are not the best, but I don't know. I wanna see Agüero back in full throttle because he's a good player. And like I said, those finishing particularly is where I think he should be better. Wow, that was a massive, I don't know how you say that in English, massive estornudo. Wow, dude. I kind of want to close the window now and go to sleep. Hey, Buga, what do you think of the young Pedri, Gavi, or Nico can play without boosting in the future? How do we have another boost in the future? None of them are proper number 8s and they suffer from boosting. Look, I think that we don't need a Busquets. Like, I think the young can do that job. But the thing is that we need to have a good, proper system in place so that we are able to do that. If we're not able to have a proper system in place, we're gonna go absolutely nowhere. And that's the difference that many people do not understand. That's why we needed this manager so bad, dude. That's why we needed this manager so bad. So let's start improving, dude. Let's start improving. Let's get this manager in it. And that's where I think we're gonna be really much improving. So yeah. And guys, I kind of want to leave it there. I think we talked very good about what we have here. I got some surprises coming along the way. Your boy has already graduated. He has already graduated first class honors. Amazing graduation. Had a wonderful time. I'll upload some pictures maybe on our Instagram, on Twitter. I'll certainly do some things. And I'm very happy about that. The next game against Celta de Vigo, I'm not going to be able to cover it, guys, unfortunately. Why? Because I'm going to be watching the Manchester Derby right from Old Trafford. I'm going to see Ronaldo going... And hopefully Manchester City scoring like 5-0 against United so that Solskjaer can finally leave and we can get a proper good Manchester United. For the sake of football, we need United, we need Arsenal, and we need Barcelona to get back in business. Like, we need we need these guys to be back in football because I just won those Champions League that I didn't know who were gonna win it. I won that back, so that's where we have to improve. So guys, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much once again. I really do enjoy making this for you guys, and you do not know how much I have learned and how much all of this time outside of university, all of this time spending growing up, becoming an adult, I guess, is down to you guys and also the time you've dedicated to watching my videos. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, really. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Gracias.